There's one car that takes you anywhere you want to go. The Model T. Strong, sturdy, with a will of its own.
Now, for the first time, Americans were able to travel inexpensively across their own country in their own cars and see the grandeur of their inheritance. They could visit the great national parks which had been created for the people, but which so few people had ever had an opportunity to see.
So tell us about your car, what year it is, and how you got this.
It's a 1908 Model T Ford, and it's the first year that they made them. I answered an ad in the shopper, believe it or not, and it wasn't about this truck at all. And when I showed up, I was driving my other truck, which is 1940, and the old man that came outside said, "Oh, so you like old trucks?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, my wife has an old truck she's planning on selling." And I'm thinking 65 Chevy or something like that. And he opens the garage door, and there sits this Model T. And of course, I got weak-kneed a little bit and said, "Yeah, I got to have that." So we agreed on a price, which I won't say, and now it's mine. It's been mine for about 10 years.
Wow. So.
And it's original, unrestored. I didn't want to make it all shiny and fancy because I didn't want it to look like a replica or something like that. And you can obviously look at it and see that it's very old. So,
did you have to fix up anything on it, or is it?
I just got the engine running. Her father had owned it, and he was the original owner of it, and had been setting for about 20 years or so. And so I put gas and oil and water in it, and it started right up.
Great. So how often do you drive it?
Well, I don't drive it too often because, after all, it's 100 years old, and I don't want to wear it out any worse than it already has in the last 100 years. But I try to get it out and thrill everybody once in a while with it because it does stop traffic when I drive down the road.
I was going to say, I'm sure you get a lot of stares from people.
Yeah, even little kids realize that it's something really cool that they've never seen before.
So what is your favorite feature of this car?
The top goes down on a day like today. Yeah, plus it's just the fact that it's so old.
It's an antique.
It's fun to drive, looking out over the narrow hood, and it's got real quick steering, but it doesn't go very fast. It only goes about 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
So
you keep it on the side roads then.
Yeah, well, like I say, most of the time traffic kind of parts and stops for me because they all want to watch it go by because everybody can't believe something this old is driving down the road.
Yep.
So
there actually is going to be a Model T parade this year for Graffiti Week.
Yes,
tell us.
Steve's there to talk about that.
And you are actually going to be heading the head of the parade, is that correct?
I'm going to be the lead of the Model Ts, yes, because I'm the oldest, not me, the car. And we're going to have every year that we can of everybody that's in the area that owns Model Ts, and we'll try to get as many as we can into the parade. And we're going to be ahead of the graffiti parade, so people will get a chance to see us. We're going to make at least one lap. Most of us don't have water pumps, and I'm sure you've seen the old black and white movies where the Model T's going down the road and the steam's coming out of the radiator. Well, that's what happens to them if they go too slow for too long. So, and I don't want to take a chance on hurting it, so I'll see how far I can go on going around the course. Yeah, these were called dash lamps, and they're kerosene. You open them up and light the wick. It has a bowl of kerosene on the bottom. Now the passenger side has a little red light on the back here that's just a lens, so that the driver, when he's driving, can see that his dash lamp is still lit. On the other side, it doesn't have that because it's close enough you can see the reflection off the fenders. It's not what you can drive off of, that's for sure. And then the rear light is a tail light, and it's kerosene also, and it has a red lens on the rear, and then a clear lens on the side for a license plate light.
Do these lights still work?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. They didn't start the assembly line until 1911, and in 1908 these were all handmade. They only made 309 of this particular vehicle, and that was all the models that they made. This one also had an option that it could come with what they called a mother-in-law seat, which was one individual seat that went in the back of the bed, but when you put the top up, that seat was out in the weather, and I guess that's why they called it the mother-in-law seat, because they didn't care about the mother-in-law back there. The tires are Firestones. Henry Ford and Firestone were friends, and in fact Henry was friends with quite a few people. Thomas Edison made the spark boxes for the ignition. Firestone made the tires for it, and the Dodge brothers made the front axle before they started their own motor company. I believe they started that about 1914. So in 1908, the Dodge brothers, needing something to do, were making axles for this. But Henry was a smart man. He used to tell them, I want them shipped in a certain size crate and made out of wood, and then when all the axles came, they would take the wood all apart, and that's what ended up in all the body pieces. Everything that was flat wood ended up coming from those crates. And I've even known of people that have taken up their floorboards to work on the transmission and found packing shipping dates and stuff on the underside where they had come that way. So
Wow.
that's why he was able to make them so cheap, and that was his goal, was to make the automobile cheap enough that everybody could afford one. And if it wasn't for Henry doing that, these NASCAR guys wouldn't even be here. We'd still be riding horses, because everybody would have thought that the automobile was too expensive to operate, and a horse was much more reliable. But Henry proved them wrong, made the Model T, and the rest is history.
Thank you.